Hello, I'm Lee James, and this is another installation of Lessons in Jazz with Lee James. So you want to be a jazz pianist, do you? Well, who doesn't? I know I always wanted to be when I was a kid, at least a teenager. Caught the bug, as they like to say. But for me, I find it a requisite for anybody that wants to take their instrument seriously, whether it's your voice or a horn, something else besides piano. Being able to sit down and navigate through the jazz chords, jazz changes, for vocalists learning charts by themselves instead of having to wait to get in the room with another piano player or guitarist. We like that for piano because everything is in front of us. We can actually see our chords. We can see the notes of our chords. It's a visual medium for creating music. So let's get started. All right, when you learn jazz, not just jazz piano, but jazz harmony, there's a lot to it. You've got to learn what's going on in the chord, what's going on within the scale, what's going on with chord changes as you go through charts. And you might want to learn just how to play the chords. You might want to learn how to eventually solo and improvise over the chords and so forth. I'm going to give you the basics. And the basics start with what I like to call the Tertian Ladder. That is taking your first scale, your C major scale, and splitting it and going up in thirds. So we take our 2, 4, and 6 of the scale and place it in the octave above, which leaves us 1, 3, 5, 7. And now 9, 11, and 13. 9 used to be 2, 11 used to be 4, and 13 used to be 6. In the left-hand portion of the scale, you see it's going across 2 octaves. The left-hand portion of the scale is what we call the lower tertian series. The upper is the upper tertian series, also known as color tones, because once we've learned our basic 7th chords, we learn how to add the 9th, 11th, and 13th in order to further color those 7th chords. So let's look back now at just the lower tertian series, 1, 3, 5, and 7. There's our nice major 7 chord. Amateur players seeing a major 7 chord on the music will play all 4 notes of that chord in the left hand. Something simple like that. Sounds very amateurish though. And why does it sound like that? Because we're playing the 3rd, major or minor, in the left hand. So we have to learn what's called open position for piano players. We spread that combination of chord notes for C major 7, and we spread it across 2 octaves. Take our 3rd, place it up in the right hand, and we take our 7th and double it. The other way to look at this is to play 1, 5 octave, 3 octave, adjust your octaves in both hands down to the major 7th, form, adjust, now play. There it is, major 7th. Nice sounding chord. Like I said, once you start playing major 7ths, you never go back to triads, even if you're just playing church music. You want to slip in a major 7th whenever you can. So how do we go about practicing our new chord here? Sounds really nice. We have 3 methods that I like to espouse with my students. First is our eponymous circle of fourths. We talked about that formation in the previous episode. Circle of fourths is basically the inverse of circle of fifths. We take the circle of fifths diagram, flip it over. Now we're progressing along the circle by intervals of perfect fourths. So as we do this with the circle of fourths, next one is F, form, adjust, play. B flat, form, adjust, play. E flat, form, adjust, play. And so forth down around the circle. And there we go. There it is. We have to form, adjust, and play solidly because if we do this, this is what we're going to do every time we see that chord and any subsequent chords we learn. So in order to get it solidly under our hands, we've got to have exactly the notes that we need for all the chords before we play the chord. Okay, other thing about going around the circle of fourths, you have to do it with a metronome. Everybody's got a smartphone, Galaxy, whatever. You've got to find download an app for metronome. The one I have here happens to come with a guitar tuning app, which is nice, so I got a nice tuner with it as well. You've got to play it because this gives you a time constraint with which to form the chord. If you just do it without time constraints, it's going to take you forever. It forces you to learn the chords faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and so forth around the circle. If you noticed, I'm playing the chord and getting off of it because I want to get to the next chord, form it, adjust, and play. I'm hanging on that chord too long. 1, 2, oh, it feels so nice. Oh, I'm late. 2, 3, oh, now I'm really late. 2, 3, oh, now I'm way behind. I'm lost, all right? This goes towards when you eventually are playing for real, playing in the church, playing for guests in the living room, playing with a friend of yours, playing with a singer, playing in a full band on stage. Got to have the element of time under control. So the metronome is our friend, not our enemy. We like our gnome. Always use the gnome when we're going through these exercises. All right. The other exercise I like to use, let me backtrack for a second. When we go around the circle of fourths, we can't keep going up because we start getting real tinny in the high range. All right? That's not what we do. We're playing our chords in this middle range of the piano anyway, so we wind up going up, down, and so forth like this. Down, up, G flat, B. Now when we get to B, this is when we go up again. We go from G flat to B to E. We go up again. And the reason is because we have a magic breakpoint in our scale on the piano, and that's F, F3. Once we get down past F3, we can't play our major seventh anymore in the left hand. We have to go to strictly an open fifth. So here, major seventh, but now we go to just 2 open fifths, 1 and 5 in the left, and major third and major seventh in the right hand. Wait a minute. I think I heard that in The Godfather Part 2. Yeah, I got to look that up. So when we get to that break point, not just major sevenths, but when we have a lowered seventh, got to get rid of it. Only go to the fifth. So with that in mind, we don't want to have to additionally burden the young player learning these new chords with, oh, I forgot, I got to get rid of my set. I go down here, blah, blah, blah. No, just jump up to the E now. Now we can continue around the circle, keeping our 1, 5, and major seventh intact in the left hand. And there we go, we're back at C. All right, as I want to progress, the circle of fifths is only one method that we like to learn our chords with. The second is a really good one, and that's to start on F down here and move up chromatically. Up just that octave and then back down again. You get the idea. Again, the gnome is our friend. Always have the metronome going on. And we start at a modest tempo. Give yourself 4 beats. Then start raising the tempo a little bit. You get more confident, more familiar with the chord forming. Eventually you start to go down to only 3 beats at a certain tempo per chord. And then 2 beats per chord. And then eventually 1 beat per chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get really good at this. That's the goal anyways, all right? 1 chord per beat. Now the third method that we go and learn our new chords with is what we call, well, it's not what we call, it's what they are, flash chords. It's a very old-fashioned analog method of learning how to do these chords. I have a couple of fake flashcards here because I couldn't find my flashcards at home. But what you are doing These are just 3x5 blank or the back of a line 3x5. Up in the very corner, you make your chord symbols, C, MAJ7, and F, MAJ7, and you go and you have to have 15 cards because there's 12 keys, but 3 of them are doubles, and that's at the bottom of the circle. F sharp is G flat, B major is C flat, and so forth. C sharp is D flat. You have 15 cards, and what this enables you to do is you mix them up, put them on your piano stand, and now you have a random order with which to fight with your metronome friend in order to jump around the keyboard. What's the next one? And that's the next one. What's the next one? And then we got this one again. And we got up here. And it gets really a good exercise here. It's a great way of now randomly having these chords in front of you with the metronome, beating you in the head with a stick in order to stay in tempo and form, adjust, and play those chords. So we have circle of fourths, we have chromatic, and we have flashcards. Some of you might be tech heads and you want to put all the 15 chords in some kind of a program that you can change the amount of times you see before it flicks to the next slide show, whatever. You can do anything like that if you want to do it. Flashcards are a little easier. Just make sure they don't get too big up in the corner so that you can overlap them as such. So keep it small and neat up in that left-hand corner. All right, that will get you started with the major seventh chords. Come back for the next episode of Lessons in Jazz, and we will hit our other 2 primary chords and then start getting into some more exercises. This is Lee James. Keep track of me on Facebook. Subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you for the next lesson.